Talking to children about mental health, understanding and supporting your child through challenges. Mental health issues such as self-harm and suicide are sensitive topics that many parents find difficult to discuss with their children. However, open and honest conversations about these matters not only help children understand them better but also create a safe environment where they feel comfortable sharing their feelings and seeking help when needed. In this article, we'll explore how to approach and discuss these issues with children in an age-appropriate way, helping them develop healthy coping skills and feel supported. Understanding self-harm in children. Before starting a conversation, it's essential for parents to understand what self-harm entails in children. It's not a mental illness but rather a way for children to cope with overwhelming negative emotions. Let's dive deeper into this behavior and the factors that may contribute to it. Self-harm, sometimes called self-injury, is when children intentionally hurt their bodies, often to release intense emotions or pressures they feel unable to handle. It's not a sign of mental illness, nor does it always mean a child is suicidal. Instead, self-harm is a way children communicate that they're experiencing extreme distress and need help from adults. Unfortunately, many parents don't notice this until the situation becomes severe. Factors that may lead a child to self-harm include experiencing significant loss, like the death of a loved one, academic pressures, family issues such as divorce or conflict, bullying, abuse, trauma, or exposure to peers who self-harm. Understanding these triggers can help parents recognize and support their children in time. Recognizing the signs of self-harm. One of the biggest challenges is identifying the signs of self-harm, as children often try to hide it. So, how can parents spot these subtle indicators? Let's go over some behaviors and signals to watch for. Children may attempt to conceal self-harm, but certain signs can be observed. These include unexplained cuts, scratches, or bruises, often on wrists, arms, or thighs. A child might wear long sleeves or pants even in hot weather to cover injuries. Impulsive behavior, emotional instability, or expressions of hopelessness or worthlessness are also red flags. Parents might notice bloodstains on bedding, clothes, or tissues, or find sharp objects like razors, safety pins, or scissors in the child's possession. Children may spend long periods alone, especially in bathrooms or bedrooms, and avoid social activities or situations requiring them to expose their skin, like swimming. If parents observe any of these signs, it may be time to initiate a gentle, non-judgmental conversation with their child. Talking to children about self-harm. Many parents worry that bringing up self-harm might plant the idea in a child's mind. In reality, children may already have heard about it from friends or social media. So, how can parents discuss this openly and support their child? Let's explore age-appropriate approaches. For preschoolers, parents shouldn't proactively raise the topic of self-harm, as young children may not grasp the concept. Instead, focus on teaching them to identify and express emotions. If a child self-harms when upset, like banging their head, parents can teach healthier ways to cope, such as hugging a stuffed animal or drawing. Role-playing games are also effective for helping children learn to manage feelings like sadness or anger. For elementary school children, parents can approach the topic with curiosity, asking if they've heard about self-harm and explaining that it's a way some people deal with tough emotions. Encourage children to try methods like deep breathing, taking a walk, or talking to an adult when they're upset. If a child is experiencing strong emotions, parents might ask, "What can you do when you're sad to feel better?" to spark ideas. For teenagers, engage in open, non-judgmental conversations. Parents could mention reading about self-harm and ask if the teen knows anything about it. Listen actively without interrupting, and avoid making the teen feel ashamed. Instead of asking, "Why did you do this?" try, "What can I do to help you feel better?" to show care and support. Understanding suicide and the importance of discussion. Suicide is an even more sensitive topic. Yet it's a leading cause of death among children and teens. Why is it critical for parents to talk to their children about this issue? Let's hear from experts on its significance. Suicide is the second or third leading cause of death for individuals aged 10 to 24, making it an urgent issue to address. Mental health experts emphasize that open discussions about suicide not only help children understand it better but also create a safe space for them to share their feelings. These conversations can enable parents to detect early warning signs and provide timely support. Creating a safe environment to talk about suicide can save a child struggling with mental health challenges. Such discussions help children feel heard and encourage them to seek help when needed. Talking to children about suicide. Like self-harm, the approach to discussing suicide should be tailored to a child's age and understanding. Let's look at how to talk to children at different stages. For preschoolers, parents shouldn't initiate talks about suicide, as young children don't fully comprehend death. If a family member dies by suicide, explain simply that the person was very sick and passed away. Avoid euphemisms like, "they're sleeping," to prevent confusion. And instead say, "they were very ill and are no longer with us." For elementary school children, parents can explain that suicide happens when someone feels so sad they don't know how to cope and chooses to end their life. Emphasize that parents are always there to listen and help when the child feels down. Encourage questions and sharing emotions to make the child feel at ease. For teenagers, have more open discussions. Ask what they've heard about suicide and explain that it's a serious but preventable issue. Parents might ask, "Have you ever felt so sad you didn't want to live anymore?" and reassure them that support is always available. Share information about hotlines or counselors they can reach out to if needed. Supporting a child showing signs of self-harm or suicidal thoughts. When a child shows signs of self-harm or suicidal thoughts, parents must act promptly. What steps can parents take to support their child in these situations? Let's explore some practical ways. First, avoid judging or criticizing to prevent the child from feeling ashamed. Instead, listen and show concern. Ask open-ended questions like, "How are you feeling?" or "What can I do to help?" rather than, "Why did you do this?" If the situation is serious, contact a psychologist or mental health professional immediately. Create a safe environment by removing sharp or dangerous objects from the child's reach. Most importantly, provide ongoing support, as help doesn't end with one conversation. Conclusion: talking to children about mental health issues like self-harm and suicide is no easy task. But it's a vital part of parenting. By fostering an open and supportive environment, parents can help children develop healthy coping mechanisms and feel safe sharing their emotions. A child's mental health is an integral part of their development. Open conversations about sensitive topics not only deepen their understanding but also build a trusted channel of communication between parents and children. Remember, how you say something matters more than the exact words. As long as parents show love and care, they'll help their children feel supported and secure.